Welcome back to the Power of Yes with Coach Servola. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a season where you're willing to move forward, but you just can't see far enough ahead to feel confident? You're not confused, not chaotic, just unclear. And that's the space between where you were and where you're going. And and that space can feel uncomfortable, especially if you like to know the plan before you act. And today we're going to be talking about what it really means to say yes in those foggy seasons when clarity hasn't even arrived yet, but that nudge to move won't really go away. So, what do you do with that? Stay tuned for more. Have you ever noticed how clarity always seems to be the thing that we ask for the most right when life is offering us the least? We want the plan, the confirmation, the sign that says this is going to work out exactly the way that you hoped. But instead, we get fog, not confusion, not chaos, just simply limited visibility. And for a lot of people, that is the moment where dies because we've been taught explicitly or implicitly that faith should come with certainty, that if something is truly meant for us, that it should feel clear, settled, and obvious to us. But that hasn't really been my experience. If I'm honest, and if you're honest, it probably hasn't been your experience either. You see, most of the yes decisions that actually have changed our lives really didn't come with clarity. They came with discomfort or with partial information. If we're truly being honest with ourselves, we didn't have the full picture. It came with questions that couldn't be answered immediately. And that's what I want to talk about today. How to say yes when you can't see the whole path, and how to move forward without demanding first that you have all of the certainty in order to move the needle. Because listen, fog doesn't mean that you're lost. Let me say that one more time. Fog doesn't mean that you're lost. It usually means that you're moving. And fog shows up when you're actually between where you were and where you're going. When the old way no longer fits, but the new way hasn't fully formed yet. And many of you listening to this now, you could truly resonate with that. And here's where many people get stuck. They assume that the fog is a sign to stop. That's what they think. They think, oh my God, I can't really see all the way down the road. So this is a place where I'm supposed to stop. But sometimes the fog simply is in the environment where trust has to take the lead. Think about that. It's the environment where trust has to take the lead. And so if you could see everything clearly, would faith be even required? Right? No, it wouldn't be required. So you just be executing the plan. But faith is asking for something different. It's asking us something different. It asks you to move without the guarantees. Listen, I've had seasons where I wanted God to show up for me, and I wanted the whole picture. I wanted to know the whole kit and caboodle, right? I wanted to know the timelines, the outcomes, the safety net. But instead, I felt the nudge toward the single step and not the full answer. Just the next one, right? The next step, the next opportunity. And I didn't like that. I mean, if I'm being completely transparent, I didn't like it because fog triggers all of my internal alarms. And I don't know about you, I'm sure it triggers all of your internal alarms too, because those what if questions start. What if I misjudge this? What if I waste time? What if I move too soon? But underneath all of those questions was really a deeper one that we always don't like to say out loud. But what if I trust and it doesn't work out the way that I expected it? Woo, sit in that for a second. What if you trusted and it didn't turn out the way that you expected? And listen, that is the real fear, right? That fear that quietly shows up. And guess what it does? It keeps us frozen. And that's where done to junk shows up again, because fog doesn't just affect your vision, it affects your thinking, right? Fog invites you to overanalyze, second guess, do that spiritual bargaining. We start asking for signs instead of checking our own alignment with our purpose and recognizing if this aligns with our purpose, which we truly should know, right? If it's in alignment, then we know we should go in that direction, because the alignment usually sounds quieter than fear, because we can do that internal self-check. And here's what I've learned. Clarity often comes after obedience, not before it. And there's a scripture that really grounds me deeply in those fog seasons, and I want to share it with you. It's Psalms 119 and 105, and it says, "Thy word, O Lord, is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." Just sit with that for a second. A lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Now, I want you to be thinking about that, because a lamp doesn't light the entire road. It doesn't say a lamp unto my path. It says a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path, right? And so as you are taking those steps, then the light shows up. It lights the next step. Oh my goodness, right? And that is completely frustrating if you want certainty. But it's freeing if you're willing to trust, right? Faith in the fog looks like this. You don't rush, you don't retreat. You take the step that you can see, and that's it. It's not the 5-year plan. It's not the perfect answer. It's just the step that's asking you for the yes today, in this very moment. And many of us, that's where we struggle. We don't want to just step into the yes for today. We want to know the yes for tomorrow, the yes for next week, the yes for next year, for the next month. We want to know 20 years down the line, what is my next yes 30 years from now? Is this outcome the outcome that I'm going to experience? But listen, we're looking for the yes in the next step, not the full path. And that is where courage shows up differently for us. Because in the fog season, calling out the fear really sounds like admitting that I don't feel confident right now. Owning the truth sounds like I still know that this is aligned. Unpacking the cost means that I am recognizing that waiting indefinitely has consequences. Risk one step becomes everything in this season. Asking for help, it matters even more. And giving it to God, meaning that I don't control the outcomes, becomes a daily. It's not a once, it's a continuous. And executing anyway means that I'm going to be consistent. And that consistency is what's going to bring the confirmation. I don't need the confirmation before I be consistent. I'm going to be consistent, and I know that the confirmation is going to come as I continue to be consistent. Listen, the fog tests your patience, but it also builds your discernment, because guess what? We learn that when you can't see far ahead, you learn to what? Listen more closely. If you're in your fog season right now, I want to offer you a grounded reflection, not a motivational one. I want to ground you in some things. I want you to ask yourself some things. What do I actually know, even if I don't know everything? What do you know right now, even if you don't know everything? And then I want you to ask yourself, what feels aligned, even if it feels uncomfortable? Because we're not looking for comfort to be our confirmation, right? We're looking to see what feels aligned, even if it's not comfortable. And then I want you to think about what steps keep coming back to you. What are those steps that keep coming before you? And then I want you to write it down on just one page. I want you to keep it before you so that you can use this as a way for you to guide yourself through that. And here's some more things I want you to write down. On that same page, write this down. And it is, the step I keep postponing is. The step I keep postponing is. The clarity I'm waiting for is. clarity I'm waiting for is, the truth I already know is, and then finally, the step that I'm willing to take anyway is. Write all of those things down. Because listen, fog doesn't require you to leap. It requires you to walk. If you're trying to do this alone, please hear me clearly. You don't have to. Here's the part that I want you to remember. Faith in the never meant to navigate it isolation. A lot of times when people experience the fog, the first thing they want to do is isolate themselves. But faith in the fog doesn't require isolation. Sometimes the clarity that we're waiting for comes through watching someone else actually take the steps when we're afraid to take the steps ourselves. Have you ever been motivated by someone else taking those steps, even when you were afraid to take them? And you saw what they did, the courage that they stepped forward in those moments. And because they took the courage in those moments, it inspired you. It made you feel more confident. And then you were able to take your next best step. Friends, that's what I want to anchor you in this moment. Allow the strength of others, allow the strength of community to anchor you, even in this moment. And listen, that is what the Yes Living community is for, to help you to walk this journey with a tribe, with some Yes champions to walk alongside you so you don't have to do this by yourself. In the next episode, you're going to hear from Sean Donovan, someone who said yes to leadership before the system ever even existed. His story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the path is created because you're actually willing to walk into the fog. Listen, I'm Coach Servola, and this is the power of yes. If you can't see the whole road, that doesn't mean that you're stuck, my friends. You know what it means? It just means it's time for you to trust the next step. And the question is, will you take it?